Sorry, guys. Okay. What's up? It's Make It Make Sense. Back for another video. Today, we got to talk about some like real stuff. So I'm starting early. This is a trigger warning. This conversation probably will go deep. And I know I'm known for like joking, laughing, and stuff like that. But today, I got kind of fired up because as we all know, that 2019's Miss USA, Cheslie Kryst, so we can't use the S word, so we can just say self-harm. You know, she lost her life due to self-harm. And I'm going to share a personal story about why I'm so affected by that based on some of my own personal experiences with people that are close to me who have also lost their life due to self-harm. So I wanted to make this a subscriber call-in so that while I'm talking, because I'm definitely going to get into some very positive things about sorry, this one's a little bit hard for me, guys. About Cheslie. So first, let me go ahead and drop the invite link. But rules of engagement, guys. YouTube does not like the S word, so please don't use it. I will have to like mute you if you use the S word. So instead of the S word, I'm saying self-harm. That's safe to say on YouTube. So I saw this, and we're going to start with this, and we're probably going to end with this. I've been like doing a deep dive on Cheslie, and she was such like a beautiful soul. Like her light just like radiated. So I saw this, and I want to share it with you all.
If nobody else has told you today, I want you to know you are smart, beautiful, and you are worthy.
I'm telling you guys, like, there was not anything that I found about this woman that was not upstanding, family oriented, goal oriented. So I have Callie, are you ready? Thumbs up if you're ready. Okay. Hey, Callie.
Hi. How are you?
This one's a little bit hard for me.
Yeah, this one has really been affecting me. Like I did the same thing you did. I tried to find more information about her. Everything that I saw was very positive. There were several people that said that they had spoken to her within that week, and she seemed fine.
Mm-hmm.
But I know in the past, especially when I was around her age, I dealt with really deep depression. So, and I don't think that most people knew that I was suffering with depression. So had something happened to me, people probably would have said the same thing about me.
So you know how I run my deep dive. So I'm gonna read the statement from her mother, where she kind of expresses what her struggles were. There was an article in Allure magazine that I read that was from last year, and it was also heartbreaking because age plays a factor in some of her anxiety. Like, to me, 30 is a baby. So we're going to talk about that. Internet trolling played a factor in it. Like, one thing that really stuck out to me was they started a petition. She was the oldest at 28, Miss USA, Miss USA. And they started a petition to lower the age after she won. That's horrible for somebody to have to go through. Hey, Autumn's mom, how's it going?
Hi, guys. Good evening. I'm just going to listen for a minute because I have thoughts on the subject, but I want to learn what you know about her because I have not done the research yet.
Okay, so I'm going to share. I was going to start off with my personal story first, And then I'll move into some of her background. That I'm going to read the article because it's not a long article that she wrote for Allure. I think that was very like touching. Then we'll get into her mom's statement. So I just want to say that I have a personal experience with this when I, like about 10 years ago now, I was working out of the country. And when I came back, I was living more of like a fast lifestyle. Like I had money in the bank, I was traveling, I was partying, and I had a friend who was back home, and we just could not seem to be in the city at the same time. We only hung out one time um, around that January, around my birthday, and I noticed a change in him, but I wasn't really around him, and I was really, being in Iraq for a year, you're not like when you get back home, you're young, you're partying, and we just could not connect. And his name was Omar. He was like my good buddy. Omar was like, I don't know anybody who did not like Omar. Omar was he was ahead of his time. Like for me, I'm a very literal person. He was a very creative person. And oftentimes when you have two people who are on separate ends of the spectrum, they automatically, he liked the fact that I was literal. I was about my business even back then. I liked the fact that he could go into a store, take a t-shirt, and make that the hottest thing in the club that night. People would be asking where he got his stuff from. And it wasn't me. He would like tell me, no, I don't like that. Go change or whatever. And I would think that he put together something crazy, and then people would be like feeling my outfit for the night. Like that was him. He was ahead of his time. Like, so that year I was traveling a lot. By that summer, I got the call that he also lost his life due to self-harm. And I took that super personally because in my friend group, I'm the fixer. In my friend group, I fix things before they become the problem. And it took years and some counseling before I realized that it had nothing to do with me. But it's still to this day, when I hear anybody who thinks of maybe harming themselves, my heart automatically goes out because you never really know what the next person is going through. And it doesn't cost you anything to ask and or find out. And I actually did this. I put up the banner. So if you or anybody is struggling with thoughts of self-harm, you can definitely call this number. You can hit up my DM. Like you could DM me if you just need to talk. Because it's very real. It's real for Omar. It's real for Cheslie. What I saw a lot of was online people wanting to know, because this girl, image perfect. Nobody ever said anything negative about her, but now that this has happened to her, all these people are trying to find out, well, did she have a man? Was this about a man? And it's just like, that is horrible. You should be celebrating this accomplished Black woman's life. You should not be trying to like pick apart what her reasonings are. The reasons don't matter. The life is lost. And I was, I'm a YouTuber. So I was on YouTube and I saw some of these things and it infuriated me. People were posting. So in YouTube, it's called clickbait, right? People will post things that aren't necessarily true or are provocative to get people to click on it. But if you were posting about somebody who lost their life due to self-harm by jumping off a building, why would you post a picture of her on a ledge?
Yeah, that's disturbing. I would just like to say one thing, and it actually is somewhat related to this. Because I think a lot of people don't know because it's not obvious in the UI. You can train the algorithm. It's very important that if you're seeing things that you're not interested in or that are disturbing on social media, to click the not interested, because that will feed the algorithm, and the algorithm will stop showing you these things. Because I haven't seen anything negative about her. So in my little bubble, everyone loved her. I haven't seen any of this stuff.
It picked up on mine because I just put in her name. I didn't put in anything like to search for her.
No, even when I searched for her name, it was just of her doing interviews and colleagues talking about her. It was all positive stuff. But that's because I have for years now been training my algorithms on social media. So if you find that social media is like showing you disturbing things or just things that are putting you in a bad vibration, make sure that you say, I'm not interested. Because it's not always easy to get off social media because it's an escape and a form of communication for a lot of us. But it is very important that you take the time to select that you're not interested in seeing these things, because it will change your experience that you're having on social media. It will get to a point where you won't hardly ever see these things. You won't even know they exist.
Oh no, I have to hit that a lot. I have to hit the
it takes a while.
And I believe in having block parties all the time.
Yeah.
I definitely believe in having block parties.
Mims,
Yes.
two things. One, for some reason, you're blurry on my TV right now.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know why. It's blurry. I just thought I'd bring that to your attention. The second thing,
really quickly, in the chat, am I blurry? Does anybody else see me as blurry? I'm listening, Miss Autumn.
Okay. And the second thing is, I agree with you when you say that a lot of people were asking questions and trying to put it off on, oh, well, did she have a man or this, that, and third? That to me is absolutely wrong. But I think just to give people grace, I think what people do is they try to quote unquote make it make sense. And for them to digest it and for them to make it I guess to understand it more, they need a why. They need a how can I prevent this in the future? They try to look for reasons to explain it away. I know that for me, my first experience that this ever came and I witnessed or had anything to do with this, I think I was like 9 or 10. I lived in New York in an apartment complex, and somebody in the next building did the same thing she did. And literally, you could see it from my terrace. And that was there for days. Like I remember weeks later walking by, the bench had broke that the person landed on, and there was matter there. And I remember being a kid looking up at the window and just thinking, why would you do that? And what kind of pain would you have to be in that this seemed like a better option? So to me, I'm still looking for the answer. I never got that answer. It won't make sense unless you are that person. But I think it's just a human reaction to try to just get answers.
No, okay. So when I said people looking for it, I wasn't talking about the average person, because I did searches for her as well. I'm talking about the people who are creators who were looking to capitalize.
Okay.
And they did posts like this. I don't talk about, I won't give you specifics, but somebody posted this as their thumbnail. It's disgusting.
That's disgusting.
It's disgusting. And I mean, clearly she's doing yoga, but we all understand what they were trying to do. Another person did a video.
Family. So I don't know if people
sorry?
understand. I said, I don't know if people understand that she has family. She has siblings. So when they're posting things like that, she has coworkers, she has friends, she has families that are seeing these things in their timeline because they're just randomly coming up because they're probably watching videos of her and things like that. And it's getting attached to that tag. So it's very almost antagonizing to the people that are grieving to post things like that.
It
That's true.
definitely is. And I mean, the disrespect didn't stop. Somebody did a video and they listed this as Cheslie. Now that is a beautiful woman, but that is definitely not
That's a
Cheslie.
different woman. Yeah, it's a different
So I
person.
mean, it just, when I also saw that she had like internet trolls and things like that, it was just like, if something that somebody says to you, people don't realize it could put you in a tailspin. You never know what somebody is going through.
That's true.
People tell me all the time not to share too much on YouTube because people can, use it against you later on. But I've been very open. You guys are more new to my platform, but at the very beginning of it, I talked about my anxieties. My anxieties with doing YouTube stems from I don't like being on camera. And, I shared that. And I had people telling me it's your vanity. And it's like, you don't know where that stems from. You have no idea. This is me just giving you my truth. You interpreting my truth, you put it in a very negative light, but it doesn't matter. It's still my truth. And so we'll talk a little bit about that as well, because some of the things Cheslie discussed, I felt also kind of related to some of the issues Tammy Roman is going through, some of the same issues that I go through. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to go ahead and drop the link because, like I said, this is definitely for subscribers. Anybody, whether you've had an experience or not, or if you were touched by her story, you are more than welcome to come up. And let me start. Cheslie Kryst, a correspondent for the celebrity news program Extra, who won the US Miss USA title in 2019 while working as a lawyer, passed away at the age of 30. So let me just, because this woman, she was very impressive. I don't know too many people with multiple degrees, including masters, doing beauty pageants, a working attorney, while also being on television. Like, definitely an overachiever. And so I'm gonna post her picture as I read it, because people need to say her name and say it with some respect.
It's unbelievable that she was able to accomplish all of those things. But at the age of 30, like, that's a lot.
This was another thing that bothered me. As I was reading, so people see me and I'm a very jovial, happy person. I speak to everybody at work. I'm willing to help people. I get a lot of DMs. I try to answer all of them. I'm just that guy. But I've lived a life, trust me. And this line really bothered me. It said, Miss Kryst passed away in a fall from a luxury high-rise building on Manhattan's West Side, where she had an apartment. Why did we need to know it was a luxury high-rise? Did that word make one extra person click on this video? Like, I say that it seems like just an innocuous statement, but I had a friend who passed away also around the same time as Omar. It was actually 1 year before Omar. And, he worked very hard. He actually worked his way up to management in a hotel, and he bought himself a Mercedes convertible. Every news article that covered it, because it was a drunk driving accident, every news article that covered the fact that he was in a Mercedes convertible. Why do we do this? Like,
I can tell you why. Because people like to believe that bad things happen to wealthy people, that their life is not so great in order to make themselves feel better. You know what I mean?
That's horrible.
Like, I've heard so many people say, oh, someone can have it all and still be depressed. And it's just like, it's this ongoing thing that a lot of people who aren't wealthy and don't see themselves as ever becoming wealthy like to comfort themselves by believing that wealthy people have these miserable lives.
somebody made a video about the fact that her pretty privilege didn't work.
That's
the
Didn't work with what? We don't even know what happened. I did read something that said that she had been in the hospital before for exhaustion. So to me, this kind of sounds like she might have had bipolar.
No,
Um,
her mother talked about it. Her
They say
mother,
yeah, but
her mother
going to
actually
the
gave her
hospital for
diagnosis.
exhaustion. Okay, she did. That sounds like only because my brother has mental illness. That kind of sounds like something that happens to bipolar people because they can stay up for days and to the point where they get
Um,
sick.
oh, this is also a good part. Renee says they say luxury because the assumption is that bad things only happen in the bad parts of the town. So,
but I don't necessarily think that that's true. Okay, to me,
mhm.
this may not be true. What I'm about to say, when the stock market and stuff starts crashing, to me, it's the wealthier people that seem to cash in their chips quicker.
Yes.
Those are used to adversity, and they're not as shaken as quick. And they're like, okay, well, this is just something else we got to get through. And they are able to manage it a little more easily than those that are shocked by the awe that this has happened to me. So sometimes the wealth and the privilege shield you from a reality that the rest of us face on a day-to-day basis, that when it happens, it's just another day in the neighborhood.
That's
That's a
true.
fair statement.
Also, another thing I found out that her parents actually weren't wealthy when she was a child. So
No,
I
not
think
at all.
yeah, that's a misconception that people have. They think that because her mom was a beauty pageant winner, that oh, she must have married some rich guy. They actually weren't wealthy people.
Mhm.
So I think that's a little bit of a misconception that people are having.
This is her
It's a
mom.
matter
She was Miss North Carolina as well. So, like, what a lineage.
I was interested in hearing. I clicked on you because I wanted to hear more about her, because I started hearing stuff that made me turn off the whole thing. And the reason it made me turn off the whole thing is because people started bringing up stuff that I think that, if in fact that is their assumption, that that's what could have led her to do whatever, that it wasn't right for them to be bringing it up and sensationalizing things at this point. People, the thing, certain narratives, I know people deal with different issues, and this could be a reason why it could be overwhelming for people. But if she didn't want that talked about in her life, don't talk about it in her death. Give her some privacy. And social media gives you no privacy. And I don't like that about social media.
Well, I
Might know
understand
The
what you're
chat's agreeing with
saying.
you.
because
And
I don't.
this chat
Yeah, yeah, I
person,
definitely understand what you're saying. I think the issue is that she ended her life in a very public way.
Yeah,
So it's not like what happened with Regina King's son. Where we don't do we even really know what happened to him?
we
not to
don't.
my, I
No,
That.
think they said that
we don't know.
he also, it was also self harm.
No,
Mhm.
but what happened to him?
Oh, the
You
way
know what
that
I
he
mean?
did
Like,
it.
I don't think we know
Oh,
because his parents got a hold of the story and they,
and we should not know.
yeah. But in
No,
her
also,
case, there was no way to control it because it was done in a very public way.
but see,
Um,
the common thread between the two cases that I see is they both had an issue with something that they were receiving from social media. Apparently, one of Ian's last post was also about, I'm about to take a break from social media, this, that, and the third. So it was something. And that case, I kind of followed a little more closely, just because for me, when I heard that, like, I love me some Regina King. And I just had watched her, come back up and have a magnificent year with The Harder They Fall or whatever. And just being a mother, and I'm a mother of an only child, and just thinking to myself, me and my daughter are the same as she was with her son. We're one. We are the same person. I saw the love in her eyes when she looked at her son. So it hit me differently. So I said, wait, what happened? I started going back. They just was on CNN for Andy Cohen's New Year's Rockin' Eve, her and her son, and a friend of his that brought in the New Year together. And to me, it was kind of like, after that, I don't know what transpired social media because I'm not on Twitter, YouTube, or whatever, but he might have got some backlash from that appearance or an appearance or whatever. And he said that, he didn't like what he was receiving and he was going to take a break. Next thing you know, he took a permanent break. That is unfortunate. To me, I think I've been preaching this on every show I've been on. We have to, as a society, be kinder to people. I literally, and I am not an angel, trust me, God is working with me, but I've been in prayer mode because this demon that's sweeping across this nation is deep. And we need to uplift our people and help people because this is sad. And people are literally checking out because of the overwhelming sense of society coming back down on their necks. Me personally, that's why I'm not on social media, because I don't care what 1,000 people think about me. I care about what the people in my household think about me and my friends and my neighbors. Outside of that, that's too many more people for me to care about. People need to stop worrying about the world's view of them and get into what you have to offer to the world, opposed to, because you're not going to please everybody. It's a false sense of reality. K. Michelle has that other show out now talking about what is it? Dying, something about the botch.
My body or something like
Yeah,
that.
I called her and I said, this needs to be shown in every school across America. You are literally going and putting quote unquote stuff in your body to please people you don't even know. If
Well, I
they
don't know, Miss Autumn. I know this is a deep show, Miss Autumn, but I don't know that K. Michelle is the right person to be hosting that particular show when she is consistently doing stuff to her face and body outside of having the plastic surgery removed.
She has not stopped. She's
No,
the surgery.
I'm not saying she's the right representative. What I'm saying is, me personally, I know that
the
wasn't.
show needs to be had. I get what you're saying.
Right.
The show is important.
I didn't know it was to that extent. I was sitting here with my mouth open, like, that is horrible. Like it took it. So whoever brought it to my forefront, it still is like, to me, the bigger picture is, why did you do that? You did that to garner likes and views from people you don't even know. That's crazy to me.
I think it's deeper than that. I think from what I've seen of that show, a lot of these people are under the assumption that they can lose weight through plastic surgery and then they will have the same results as going to the gym.
No, it's not
true. I don't know where that came from.
I'm sorry. We're kind of going off on a little bit more of a tangent. I kind of want to. We can maybe open the conversation, but I kind of want to get through the really positive things about who she was, because she was very accomplished. It says Cheslie Kryst was born on April 28th, 1991 in Jackson, Michigan, and moved to Charlotte, North Carolina when she was a toddler. She later graduated from the University of South Carolina with a business degree and then earned an MBA and a law degree from Wake Forest University. In 2017, she joined Pointer Spruill, I might have butchered that, law firm based in North Carolina, where she focused on civil litigation. The firm said in a statement on Sunday that Ms. Kryst was a passionate advocate both in and out of the courtroom. After she was crowned Miss USA, she and Pointer Spruill agreed that she would go on a sabbatical, and she later left the firm, according to his managing partner. Although Ms. Kryst worked as a lawyer for some time, she was no stranger to beauty pageants. Her mother, April Simpkins, was crowned Miss North Carolina in 2002. So I showed you the picture of it. I want to show it again because they are very gorgeous.
Oh, beautiful.
She said, my mom was the second Black Miss North Carolina, so I knew no matter what, I was going to compete. Miss Kryst started her pageant career as a teenager and won the Miss Northwestern pageant while in high school. In 2019, she was crowned Miss North Carolina and went on to win Miss USA, becoming the oldest contestant to ever win at the age of 28. She later represented the United States at the 2019 Miss Universe competition, finishing in the top 10. In the midst of a rising career that required long days, Ms. Kryst told the Times in December 19 that downtime was the key to balancing her busy schedule, which included traveling for events as Miss USA and maintaining her blog, White Collar Glam, where she discussed affordable workplace fashion. Mental health was also a priority for Ms. Kryst, who said in a Facebook video in 2019 that she regularly spoke with a counselor. When I'm not talking to my counselor, I take time at the end of every single day to just decompress. I unplug. I shut my phone off. I don't answer messages. I just sit and watch my favorite movie. Ms. Kryst also used her rise to fame and presence on the pageant stage to make a statement about diversity. She described herself as a Black woman of mixed race heritage, and in 2019, she intentionally wore her hair natural during the Miss USA pageant. Excuse me. During the Miss USA pageant, winning with my natural hair was really important to me because I thought, this is the way that my hair grows out of my head, she said. I should be okay to wear my hair like this. And we'll stop here for a moment and then I'll go into her essay. I mean, I'm super impressed by this woman.
Yeah, she's
I'll say
amazing. Yeah.
Sorry.
It's a loss. When you sit back and digest the loss, it is just breathtaking. I get it. I get it.
I'm going to go ahead and go into the Allure magazine article, and then, we'll have some other topics as it relates to this, but I just think people just need to be fucking nicer. I just don't understand. And I don't know. Okay. So this is something that she actually wrote last year. And this is what made me do this video, because I was like, wow, you feel like you're old at age 30. After all of these great things have happened, it really is about your internal feelings. It's not anything exterior. When, I get read up and down. People say all kinds of shit about me. And shit, I'm monetized and I'm cursing up a storm. So this is bad. Okay, we'll probably get demonetized, but that's fine. People say all kinds of things about me, but what they don't understand is my self-worth is not built around anything external. People don't understand that. My self-worth is really built around who I am as a person, how I treat other people. And so, when I started YouTube, I got all kinds of hate. People talked about the way I looked, the way I dressed, the way I spoke. And it doesn't really bother me because at the end of the day, like my real friends, I have a couple of them in the chat. They know it's really about how I treat people. My perception of myself is built up about what I do for other people, and so it just breaks my heart that this kid who's 30 couldn't shake it. I'm going to drop the link again. Let's see. Anybody's welcome to come up because this is a subscriber call-in. Each time I say, I'm sorry?
I was going to say, ma'am, one thing you just said is not, you're 100% right when you say we need to treat people better and just be nicer. But it's not just that. We have to pay more attention. I don't know, it's a thing called reading a room. When you go into a room and you're talking to people, whatever, for me, I have the ability, I pretty much walk in and I literally look for the exits. And then as I look for the exits, I settle in and just be comfortable. And sometimes I'm like you, I'm an empathetic person. I'm quiet. I don't need to be in the front forefront. I talk more on here than probably anybody. They were like, "What you doing? What?" My friends wouldn't even know that I was coming on here because they would be surprised. With that being said, people just naturally gravitate to me, and I say, "Tell me their whole life story without even knowing my name." Okay, that's a blessing and a curse. With that being said, you need to be able to know your friends at least. When somebody, when it comes to this, people could be happy or sad and do whatever they're going to do, and you wouldn't know. But you need to check in on people. You need to be able to say, "Hey, how are you doing? What's going on in your world?" We're so go, go, go. It's me, me. This statement that people make all the time, it drives me nuts. I'm chasing the bag. I need the bag. I need the bag. For me, life is not about money because I'm blessed. It comes, it goes. You have it, you don't have it. I have exactly what I need when I need it. Period, hands down. Other than that, if all you're doing is chasing the bag, you're not paying attention to me, to what's most important, which is the people around you and what you can be imparting upon different lives. I literally, with my daughter's friends, they would like, okay, say during COVID, I know the kids going through a lot. They can't really see each other. You're not visiting or whatever. And no, you can't come in my house, but I'll meet you on the porch. I got some chairs out there. We'll sit a couple feet away and let's talk. What are you going through? How do you feel? What's going on in your world? You have to check in with people. You can't just assume everything is going right. And then when it goes left, be like, oh, I had no idea. Well, of course you don't have no idea because you didn't take the time to find out. So just take a minute. This is another thing. I'm not a big texter. Call somebody. Pick up the phone, hear their voice. How are you doing? I have time. I want to know how you feel. What's going on? It don't have to be long and drawn out because people might not have time for that. But just the texting, you don't know the inflections in people's voice. You don't know if they're happy or sad. If you really care, spend the time.
No, I mean, I think those are all valid. I would
Yeah.
always say, check in. I check in with everybody. What are you doing? How are you doing? Like, what's going on? Like,
I
it
think
doesn't hurt.
the most perplexing thing is that people had talked to her in the past week. And like Gail King was saying, she said, well, how do you check in on someone or help someone when there is no clue that they need help? Like the person seems like nothing's wrong with them.
I,
Check everybody.
I'm gonna go ahead and read her mom's statement first. And I was gonna read her Allure magazine, but I'm gonna read her mom's statement first. Because I thought it was very touching and she said, I have never known a pain as deep as this. I am forever changed. Today, what our family and friends privately knew was the cause of the D word of my sweet baby girl, Cheslie, was officially confirmed. While it may be hard to believe it's true, Cheslie led both a public and a private life. In her private life, she was dealing with high functioning depression, which she hid from everyone, including me, her closest confidant, until very shortly before her passing. While her life on this earth was short, it was filled with very many beautiful moments. We miss her laugh, her words of wisdom, her sense of humor, and mostly her hugs. We miss all of it. We miss all of her. She was a vital part of our family, which makes the loss even more devastating. Cheslie, to the world, you were a ball of sunshine wrapped in smiles. We talked, FaceTime, or texted one another all day, every day. You were more than a daughter. You were my very best friend. Talking with you was one of the best parts of my day. Your smile and laugh were infectious. I love you, baby girl, with all of my heart. I miss you desperately. I know one day we'll be together again. Until then, rest easy and in peace. And then it says, in lieu of flowers, please make a donation to Dress for Success, an organization that was dear to her heart. If you or anyone else is struggling with thoughts of self-harm, and it gives the self-harm hotline. So, you know, that tells you exactly what she was struggling with. Um, and the fact that her mom could come out and release that statement just speaks to what a strong woman she is, because a lot of people would break down. A lot of people don't have to give you that. But when you put a face and a life like hers with that diagnosis, it tells other people out there that you're not alone, and that there is, a light on the other side of that tunnel. Mm. So,
And sometimes that's all the difference. That just knowing that somebody out there hears you and they care. On a personal note, and I didn't plan on going here, but since we're here, I'm gonna go here.
yeah, that's what this is about.
Definitely had these feelings before in my past, okay? It was something I struggled with for a long time. I had adolescent trauma where, for me, and let me just be clear, it was I literally watched my grandmother die before my eyes when I was 9 years old. And I felt hopeless. She had a massive heart attack. There was nothing I could have done, this, that, and the third. But I, like you, Mims, have always been the person that fixes situations. So the fact that I couldn't fix that, and I didn't, do in my eyes more to help her. In hindsight, being 2020, you have a massive heart attack. She died before she hit the floor before I called 911. So I did all I could do. But as a kid, you don't know that. All you know is you see the adults around you crying, and you can't do anything to stop it. So for years, I had to go around with a smile on my face, trying to make everybody else feel good. So I then adopted this phrase. I have, quote unquote, the wintertime blues. In the winter, I would, quote unquote, hibernate and just keep to myself. People closest to me, they would check on me like, hey, how you doing, whatever. And I would just close the blinds, go to work, do whatever I had to do, but just stay to myself. With that being said, in 2017, my world crashed down. That was I in February. I got sick, was hospitalized for 2 months. Come out the hospital 2 weeks later, my father was hospitalized. And then he died within a week. And then within 2 months, my grandmother died. So at that point, had I not had my daughter and had I been able to formulate a plan, I would have cashed in my chips. But I didn't. What I did was, because of my religious background, it went against everything I knew, and I couldn't come up with a plan on how I can do it and be okay. For me, that was a blessing. So that's why I'm still here. So, but I reached out and I was amazed. Family members that I hadn't even talked to ended up calling me. And it was, like I said, I was hospitalized, lost my father, then lost my grandmother. And then something as simple as, now, because I was hospitalized and didn't have a job, my car got repossessed. So that was it. I was like, okay, I can't even, I don't have a car now. This is it. I'm cashing in these chips, just figure out a way, and that's it. When they heard about that, they did whatever they could do. We ended up getting my car back. But the love that came to me from everybody saying, we didn't know you were going through this. We didn't know this, that, and the third. And they supported me. I'm here today because of that, because I know that I do matter. And there's a reason why that one bad day wasn't the end of all my bad days. And I'm glad I couldn't formulate whatever, but not everybody has that support system. So when I hear these things, I get it. I get it. I get it. I get it. And I feel bad for them because they didn't have an out. For me, I had an out, and I'm grateful for my out. And even the fact that I feel guilty even thinking about that, because like with Regina King's situation, I'm thinking in her situation, I feel bad for her because she's left behind. What would I have done to my daughter? What would that have said to her? How would she have gone on and carried on? So it all comes down to who you can turn to. I turned to one person. I made one phone call to one family member, and before I know it, everybody was knocking on my door, coming and doing whatever they could do to help me. And I came from that, and now we in 2022.
That's beautiful. Like that is a blessing in itself. Miss Autumn, can I ask you a question?
Absolutely.
Do you identify as Black or African American?
Absolutely. I am a Black African American female and proud of it.
The reason I ask you that is because I do my deep dives, and they say that African American women are the group of people that practice self harm the least. This is from a psychology standpoint, and they also stated that um, it is because of their tether to Orthodox religion. That's
Okay.
one of the reasons that self harm is not as prevalent in the Black female community. And I didn't really know how to address that. You just kind of absorb knowledge when you're doing deep dives. But when you said that, it spoke to me because it reigns very true. You said your relationship with God
Well,
and your family member reaching out.
right. For me, that's absolutely true. I am a self-professed prayer warrior. In that time, I couldn't pray for myself, so other people prayed for me. And I know that the prayers of my ancestors carried me through that darkest time. And like I said, those two things, those two different sides of my brain, as I'm trying to come up with a plan, can I do it this way or that way? Every time I would think about something, it'd be like, well, no, because of this, and no, because of that, and no, because of whatever. And it was really no, because I don't know what's going to happen. My whole thing is, if I get past this life, what's going to be next? For me as a Christian, I believe that heaven is next. But if I do this to myself, that's not an option for me. So then why am I going to just make things worse for myself? That's my belief.
No, I mean it's true and it's valid.
Yeah.
And it's really fortunate that you had the type of support system and that you had the and that you actually reached out, right? Because we can't say that everybody does that. Sometimes people just feel so alone that they don't reach out, and you never know, just that one moment could change the trajectory of your life. Yes, Kelly?
And let me
Well,
let me also say this to everybody. When I say I reached out, let me tell you that wasn't easy to do because I wasn't in a good place with my family. I hadn't spoken to a lot of them in years because of other things. So I was literally feeling alone. But I made, like I said, one phone call, and all the little stripes or whatever reason I wasn't talking to this one or that one or whatever the case may be, it meant nothing. They all put all that to the side. I put it to the side, and we reconciled. But most people would be like, well, I don't even mess with this person. They don't care about me. This one don't care about me. You tell yourself all kinds of things because of whatever, but you really don't know. People have more love for you than you really know. And it's bigger than what a little incident might have been. They don't want to see you check out.
Were
well,
you about to say, Kelly?
what I just wanted to say is that my experience is the complete opposite of hers. And I dealt with depression probably up until I would say maybe 3 or 4 years ago, like pretty much my whole life, until one of the things that I stopped doing was looking for something from other people and finding it within myself. So as far as like reaching out to people and all of that stuff, for me the opposite was true. When I would reach out to people, I would usually end up drawing something negative into my life because I was in a very negative space. And I'm not religious. I used to think that I was atheist. And then maybe about three years ago, I started getting led down a path where I started learning more about spirituality and different concepts as to what God is and how the universe works. I was always intrigued by the law of attraction, but to be honest, I didn't really understand it. And one of the things I found the book, Three Magic Words, that was life changing because it just really changed the way that I looked at life, that I looked at death, because I don't even believe in death. So it would be no reason for me, unless my vessel is what was causing me pain. And I actually believe that when it's time to go, if you accept it and let go, you probably won't suffer. That's just what I believe. But emotional pain or depression, I believe that death is just a transition. So I would just be out, not in this body, but still somewhere depressed.
You're not alone.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like it's not your soul is internal. You don't you cannot not exist anymore. It's not possible. So
I say you're not alone because Renee, he just said to some, he says, as a person who has a lot of trauma from my past religious experience and also suffers from negative self-thoughts, I wish there was more work on how people can heal themselves in a secular way. So you're not alone in that mindset.
Well, I do know that there are some organizations. To me, they were still a little bit too Christian for me, because a lot of those people were former Christians and they were still sort of. I was never a Christian, so I don't have that sort of subconscious belief system ingrained into me. But I can pick it up in other people very quickly. So for me, it was like some of that stuff was a little too Christian for me, even still. But there are some organizations out there. And there's also some books. The Creation Frequency is a good one. Three Magic Words was life-changing for me. I mean, like Three Magic Words for me was like, okay, this is how it just connected with me. I was like, this is it. This is how it works. Like, you know what I mean? So for me, this coming from another alternative perspective, because people are like, check in and reach out to people and this, and that. My vibration was so low that when I did reach out to people, those were some of the worst people I ever brought into my life to this day. When I was trying to reach out to people when I was depressed, because I was just vibrating so low, I was attracting negative people to me. And people that just had,
like the law of attraction.
very bad intentions.
What you're putting out is what you're getting back.
Exactly. So my vibration was so low, I wasn't going to really attract. I wasn't able to really attract good people into my life. It just wasn't happening. Also, finding out who are you as a person, what generally makes you happy, not what society says happiness is. Because that was a big light bulb moment for me as well. Because I found that a lot of the things that I felt was making me depressed is because I didn't have something that I saw on TV or social media. But at the end of the day, when I think about the times I've been the most happiest, it has never been, these things that they say are supposed to make you happy or that you need to be happy. Like I'm happy just like kicking it by myself and knowing that I have peace and solitude and, there's no BS going on around me. I could do something I love to do for a living or, hopefully I can retire young and, and just learn, but I was doing a lot of like, chasing what society says happiness is. Like I'm a type of person, I don't like to be around a lot of people. I don't need a lot of friends. I've never really liked going out to social events, but because they said that that's where people go to be happy and have fun, I would go and then I would have this horrible time and horrible anxiety. And then that would trigger my depression. So it's a lot of it is like taking the time to think about like, who are you? And I don't know what happened with this young lady, because to me, the things that was making me depressed at 30 were the things that she had. What was
hers might have been overachieving. Callie.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Hers might have been
that I felt like I couldn't do anything because I'm dyslexic. I had like a huge, all my life anxiety of not being able to hold a job because of my dyslexia. And it took me a really long time to get over that. Like now I've just gotten to the point where it's like, you know what I am manifesting in my life, that's who's going to show up in my life. And anything that happens in between, that's just something to put me on to what I'm trying to manifest. You know what I mean? That's just something to just kind of keep me on that road. And that's just what it's going to be. But you have to find what resonates with you. And I find that a lot of people are get religion pushed on them, because that's what happened to me when I would try to reach out for help. People would try to push religion on me. Religion doesn't, I don't connect with it. It doesn't make any sense to me. Like I'm a very logical person.
That's the powerful thing about this. We're three people who are strangers. And in this, I have my friend who passed away due to self-harm and my experience with it. We have Miss Autumn, who was contemplating self-harm, and her faith in God pulled her back from that, in addition to her family members. And then we have you, Callie, who you're finding spirituality, and it sounds almost like some form of self-actualization helped you with your depression. Three very different people, similar issues, we'll say, and three very different ways to come out of it. Like that's powerful in itself. Just that acknowledgement that every cure ain't for everybody.
And it is kind of like a mix of all, because it's not one or the other. Because for me, even though I had that religious aspect that I had to hold on to, it gave me a minute to hold on. What actually pulled me out, some people say, okay, well, go to therapy. I went to therapy. I can say anybody that can go to therapy, go to therapy. And if it works for you, it works for you. For me, it was funny because when I went to therapy, I already had, quote unquote, all the answers. It was so scary to the part. I knew when I was talking the answers to my own questions, to the point that I'm sitting in a therapist's office, and all of a sudden we wasn't even talking about me anymore. We started talking about her and her problems, and she's asking me for advice. And I'm like, wow, I know I don't have it all together.
But
But
she
I
needed you in that moment. That's what matters. In that
exactly.
moment, she needed you.
And I needed her just to talk like, does this make sense to you? Sometimes you just want to get validation that the way that you're thinking makes sense to another being. Also, Callie, I'll say this to you as a Christian right now in this space, in this time, in this place, as a Christian, it's hard for me because I can see why we come under a lot of fire, because there's so much hypocrisy and there's so much judgment that just comes when people say, I'm a Christian. They automatically, oh, stand back. I'm keep it real simple. My basis of Christianity is just treating others the way that you want to be treated, and do unto others the way you will want others to do unto you. And no one is perfect. I'm not here to judge you. Don't judge me. And we all gonna figure it out together. That's pretty much it, in love. That's it. That's my basis of Christianity. With that being said, outside of everything else, when I sat down with the therapist, what I did learn was, hey, stop worrying about what everybody else thinks about you. See, I had
Yeah.
a problem with perfection. I was brought up to, quote unquote, be perfect. I had to have the perfect grades. I had to have the perfect look. I had to have the perfect this, that, and the third. So trying to live up to those expectations was unrealistic. And at the end of the day, no matter how perfect you try to be, you're not going to please everybody. Somebody is not going to be happy. And I didn't know how to handle that. Like, well, what do you mean? And for me, if I thought I hurt you, that hurt me even more. So it did a lot to me. So what I learned was I don't champion for friendship. I'm not sitting out here. I'm like you, Callie, when it comes to the fact of I'm a loner. I realize at the end of the day, I like me. I think I'm a good person. I'm a cool person. I like who I am. I like what I bring to the world. I like this, that, and the third about myself. Whoever else don't get me, I'm just not for you, and that's okay. Because
Hold that thought really quickly, because you just touched me again. Hold on, and I want to share. I want to share Chesley. Hold on.
If nobody else has told you today, I want you to know you are smart, beautiful, and you are worthy.
It just took me right back to that moment with her.
Yes, yes. I mean, and that's a powerful statement. If you can get that, that's part of the battle. Like, I'm good enough the way I am. If you don't get me, it's okay. Somebody else will. Let me move on to another section. And that's what I try to impart towards my daughter and any and everybody else. When we was talking about the body image, this, that, and the third, yeah, there's things you might not like, but is it worth dying over? No, it's not to me. So I'm not going to put myself under life-threatening circumstances to change anything because somebody else doesn't like this about me, and then tomorrow they might not even remember me or know my name. It's ludicrous to me that so many people feel as though they have to get so many different people's approval. But I was there. So it's not really ludicrous. It's sad. And I think if we break from that and realize you're good enough just the way that you are. And if someone don't get you, it's okay.
Also, you have to look at what you're attracting. Not to go off on the plastic surgery thing, but I mean, you have to think about what type of man are you attracting with this big giant fake butt or big giant fake boobs? What type of man is that? Is that really the type of man that you want to have a relationship with? And more than likely, the answer is going to be a no.
But a lot of people don't just do it for the man, they're doing it for the females to be envious of them, to say, "Oh, I want what she has." But if it's not if it's not natural, to me, I'm old school. I love the old ebony jet models of, we are fine. Like it's so funny when I showed my daughter that video and I was sitting here like, I can't believe people do this, that, and the third. She said, "Well, Ma, everyone's not like you. I don't wear any makeup. I literally will go brush my hair back, do whatever, and be like, damn, you look good. You're beautiful." She said, people don't have that same confidence. I don't know where it came from. And people might look at me and say, you ain't all that, but I could care less. To me, I am it. And I don't care whether you like it or not, but I'm not going to I'm not spending I'm not wasting my money. No, I'm not doing that. Number one. First of all, I don't even have a tattoo. I don't like pain. Let's start there. So I know I'm not going under the knife. I had enough health issues that I had to go under the knife for stuff that I didn't want to do. So I'm sure not going to have elective surgery to have to try to do some other stuff to try to fix stuff for people at the end of the day that you don't even know if you're going to be talking to them tomorrow.
Definitely. Well, so let me get to her allure, because it kind of ties into what we're talking about. And these unrealistic standards that we set, whether it's career, beauty. Now, keep in mind, this woman she just won Miss USA, the pinnacle of all of her 10 years worth of pageantry. Each time I say I'm turning 30, I cringe a little. Sometimes I can successfully mask this uncomfortable response with excitement. Other times my enthusiasm feels hollow, like bad acting. Society has never been kind to those growing old, especially women. Occasional exceptions are made for some of the rich and few of the famous. When I was crowned Miss USA in 2019 at 28 years old, excuse me, I was the oldest woman in history to win the title, a designation even the sparkling $200,000 pearl and diamond Mikimoto crown could barely brighten for some diehard pageant fans who immediately began a petition for the age limit to be lowered. So right after she won, a petition was started to make sure that no other 28-year-old could ever win the title again. A grinning, crinkly-eyed glance at my achievements thus far makes me giddy about laying the groundwork for more, but turning 30 feels like a cold reminder that I'm running out of time to matter in society's eyes, and it's infuriating. After like after a year like 2020, you would think we'd learn that growing old is a treasure and maturity is a gift not everyone gets to enjoy. Far too many of us allow ourselves to be measured by a standard that some sternly refuse to challenge and others simply acquiescence to because fitting and going with the flow is easier than rowing against the current. I fought this fight before, and it's the battle I'm currently fighting with 30. How do I shake society's unwavering norms when I'm facing the relentless tick of time? It's the age-old question. What happens when immovable meets unstoppable? Now, after we finish this, I just want to show you guys this because it really made me start thinking about how we value age. And this is gonna like blow y'all's mind, I guarantee. This is the Golden Girls are actually the same age as the Sex and the
Yes.
City girls.
Wow.
Somebody said, it might have been Gabor. We don't have, I think it was Gabor. We don't have big mamas anymore. Like, we don't have this. We don't value age in the same way. And you know, it's a little bit off topic, but one of the ladies in the Sex and the City got plastic surgery, and they were saying she looks unrecognizable. And then the other ladies didn't get plastic surgery, and they told them, you look old. So what do we value? Do we want somebody to go and get plastic surgery to maintain this look and this aesthetic? We talk about them. When they don't go get plastic surgery and you can see their chronological age, we talk about them. So it's almost like, what do you want? And
People that have natural looking plastic surgery.
stop it.
I'm
You
serious.
shouldn't have to get plastic surgery. I agree with whoever said that we don't have big mamas anymore. What we have nowadays is we have big mamas who are going to get their BBL. Like, it is what it is. I think that this girl at age 30 is already feeling this, and she's 30 on top of the world. High-paying job, success. She made history with these two other Black women.
But you know, Dams, that was a little strange to me because it's nowadays, do people even look at 30 as being old anymore? Like, that's the first time I heard anyone say that in years.
No, that is not. I mean, I can tell you about people's struggles with age, especially when you're in part of my story time. I'm not going to do today because what we talked about was so much deeper. But I can definitely understand how age plays a factor in people's anxiety, especially when you're in the public eye. Yeah, I definitely do think, and I believe every word in this op-ed that she wrote. I do believe that age was a fact. I mean, can you imagine?
It's a little strange because the biggest celebrities are my age, and I'm over 40.
You have to think at her level, Callie. At her level, she wanted to be Mrs. USA. She wanted to win the pageant like her mom, so she won Miss North Carolina. But she wanted to be Miss USA. And you get to that pinnacle of success, and they start a petition to make sure that nobody else your age can get it. Right there, you see how fucked up people are. She should be rewarded for being able to compete against younger girls because, you know, in the modeling agency, 15, 16, by the time you're 20, 21, 22, you're old news.
You know what I think has also happened? In the past, I would say 10 to 15 years, people have almost completely stopped smoking, which has slowed down the aging process. So people don't age the way they used to. And I think it's taking a minute for society to...
They got weed trucks in New York. What they stop smoking?
But it's not, the weed does not age people like cigarettes. I've seen it. Unless they're smoking their weed with tobacco mixed in it, which some people do. But weed does not age you the way cigarettes do. And so when we look at previous generation, those people were either smokers or they were in the household with someone who smoked their entire life.
But so is it smoking or is it social media? Because I know when I was growing up, we didn't have the internet. You didn't have someone looking at your pictures that you posted every day.
24/7.
Yeah, but
worried about likes
a day as well. That 2 packs a day is gonna make you look real old by the time you're 30.
Well, not everybody. My grandmother lived till 92. She never She never smoked. She walked to the grocery store every day. She never even owned a car. So
My
this is a
grandma
good point.
was
when she
made
got
and died because of smoking.
Hold on one second. There's nothing wrong with grandmas. What I was saying, what I was trying to relate was how she said that 30 is now old. And what I'm saying, I showed the comparison of the Golden Girls, how grandmothers have changed. I think that, like Portia's mom, she looks great. I won't take that away from you. I think everybody can be as aesthetically pleasing as they want to be. I'm just saying the need is there. The need to maintain unrealistic forms of beauty. And that's not a glamour. I'm talking about like, hold on one second, we have one person. I'm talking about how we don't have the big mama. We got the woman going to the club with you. Like things have shifted in society.
Well, no,
And when
Big
a
Mama
30-year-old feels old,
not
I'm
60.
sorry. I'm
Big
sorry.
Mama's 80, not 60.
I mean, we got big mamas in every generation.
No, what I'm saying is that our lifespan has gotten longer. So we're still thinking in terms of like 1970s, 80s, when people were 50 and looked 65 because they smoked 2 packs a day and ate bacon every morning. People are not aging like that anymore. We're a little bit smart, more health conscious. So we still have the grandma that looks like the Golden Girls, but she's 80. She's not 60.
That's fair.
more like people are starting this plastic surgery stuff way younger. Think about Candy Burns' daughter, Riley. She got, what was it, her nose done or something like that before she was even 18.
You
Yeah,
are trying
before
to get me sued. You are Autumn's mom is trying to get me sued. I'm gonna name you as the co-defendant whenever when I get served.
I'm saying, you say that? I thought allegedly, let me just say allegedly, I could have sworn that she said that she got the nose job and that was prior to her turning 18 because it was a big thing on social media. Like, why would Candy allow her daughter to get surgery so young? So with that being said, it's like these younger girls are finding quote unquote imperfections that we all had or all felt or, dealt with, that they feel they have the access to money and now it's readily available. Before it was only available to people, say in Beverly Hills or this, that, and the third. Now any and everybody can get it. So everybody's running to go fix what they feel is wrong to make them more acceptable in society. So for me, with my daughter, she doesn't have social media. No, you can't have an Instagram page. No, you can't have TikTok and this, that, and third. At first, she was like, well, why? To me, you have enough dealing with being a high school student and dealing with what's going on in the high school. You don't have to deal with what everybody else around town and in the world is thinking about you, because that's difficult enough. You don't have to conform to what society thinks about you, because that's too much judgment on a young mind that's not fully developed. Now, when you're old enough, and if that's something you want to get and be a part of, then go for it. But not on my watch, because I'm not going to have thousands of people judging you on a daily basis, and then you have to come home to me and me have to then try to prop you up and be the voice of reason against 1,000 other voices. For me, even I'm old. I had a Facebook page and I had to check myself and say the majority of my Facebook friends are people I went to elementary school or high school with, that if I tripped or fell over today or tomorrow, I don't know these people. I really don't still know you. So why do I care what you think about me?
That's a good point. Amused, hey, how's it going?
Oh, hi, Mims. Hi, everyone. I just came to say, can we get some likes, please? There's 295 people in here, and there was only 100 and something likes. That was it.
Do what she says, y'all. Hit the like button. I'm sorry, I didn't. We kind of just jumped into this, and it became such an emotional conversation.
I know.
Definitely, guys, hit the like button. Please hit the subscribe button to get notifications. We're gonna be doing probably Portia
Subscribers
maybe
only.
tomorrow. I don't know. We'll probably doing Portia tomorrow. If not, we're gonna do it before the end of this week. Because everything isn't deep on this channel, but this particular was because her story touched me. Cheslie's story definitely shook me to my core. But Gamuse, thank you so much. You've been a really great mod. Side note.
Oh, yeah, thank you.
She gives
And
me
I
a
just
hard
wanted
time.
to say, I agree with Autumn's mum about the younger people having plastic surgery and also just doing these filters and stuff. It's giving them a lot of insecurities. And to be fair, a lot of these younger people look much older than their age. I
Yeah, us
mean,
older ones are killing it. The young people wish they
yeah,
looked like us.
they look so much older because when I was what, 18, 20, I mean, I looked like I was 12. Nowadays, they look older than me. So,
Kylie Jenner looks like she's pushing 40.
But Kylie
I'd
Jenner
hate
has
to
had
see
I was
what they
just
look
joking.
like. Yeah, I'd
like
hate to see what they're going to look like when they're much older if they're doing all this stuff to themselves now. And also nowadays, because of the social media, it's not, you know, back in the day, it was only like a magazine and only celebrities that, you know, looked a certain way. Now it's the people they go to school with and all this, and everyone doesn't even look like who they portray themselves to look like on this social media.
I know somebody that borrowed money and went to Cartagena and got their teeth done.
Yeah, it's crazy the stuff that they're doing at the moment. And
as a teenager, I wanted a nose job more than anything. Now at 40 plus years old, and I'm not trying to be mean, but when I look at Janet, I am so glad I did not do that to my nose, because your face.
Yeah, but if you were a teenager now, you probably would have got it done. If it was in these days.
Well, yeah, because I would have been able to get a job and get medical financing at 18. They had that did not exist when I was a teenager. Now, if you had a job and you've worked there for 2 months, you can get a certain amount of money with no credit check to get.
My channel is so new. We can't talk about Janet. They're gonna take me off the internet.
No, I love Janet. I'm a fan, but the reality is she looked a lot better before she had any type of surgery. Janet,
is that why you're hiding your face?
Yes.
Yes. I mean, no, Janet is and was very beautiful, but in my opinion, she looked a lot better with her original nose. I'm sorry, you guys, and I love her to death. I've been a fan my whole life, not bashing Janet. But
we got to run back to Cheslie. Yeah. You're scaring me, Callie.
No, Cheslie actually says she regrets getting her teeth done. She actually said that she regretted getting something done as well.
This part
imagine
of
the things that you did.
Hold on 1 second. This part of her article kind of touches to what you were asking about people feeling old at 30. She says, I remember being enamored by 20 and under, 20 under 20, and 30 under 30 lists that tied achievement to youth and called it success. Lists that are surely intended to recognize the rarity of accomplishing outstanding feats at a young age, but they had an unfortunate side effect on some young people who felt encouraged to hoard accomplishments as fast as possible in order to measure up to our peers. And again, she stated, society has never been kind to women growing older. When I graduated from college and opted to continue my studies at Wake Forest University, I decided I'd earn a law degree and an MBA at the same time. Why stop at 2 degrees when you can have 3? That sounds like Wendy. I joined a trial team at school and won a national championship. I competed in moot court, won essay competitions, and earned local, regional, and national executive board positions. I nearly worked myself to death, literally, until an 8-day stint in a local hospital sparked the development of a new perspective. I discovered that the world's most important question, especially when asked repeatedly and answered frankly, is why. Why earn more achievements just to collect another win? Why pursue another plaque or medal or a line item on my resume if it's for vanity's sake, rather than out of passion? Why work so hard to capture the dreams I've been taught by society to want when I continue to find only emptiness? Too often I noticed that the only people impressed by accomplishment were those who wanted it for themselves. That's deep. Meanwhile, I was rewarded with a lonely craving for the next award. Some would see this hunger and label it competitiveness. Others might call it unquenchable thirst of insecurity. I was further along in my journey of learning this lesson when I won Miss USA. My term was not an exercise in the expected. Instead, it felt filled with purpose. In fact, from the moment I won, my reign ignited a heightened desire to commit myself to passion, intent, and authenticity. Pageant girls are supposed to be model tall and slender, don bouffant hair, and have a killer walk. My 5'6" frame, one with six-pack abs, earned after years of competing in Division I track and field, and a head of natural curls in a time when generations of Black women have been taught that being too Black will cost them wins in the boardroom and on pageant stages. My challenge of the status quo certainly caught the attention of the trolls. I can't tell you how many times I've deleted comments on my social media pages that had vomit emojis and insults telling me I wasn't pretty enough to be Miss USA or that my muscular build was actually a man body. Let's stop there. Because this is the article that really got to me. This woman at the height, I mean, I don't even want to say the height of her life because her life was just starting. This is what she's dealing with. Online trolls telling her she's old, telling her body looks like a man. This woman was absolutely gorgeous. And to know that people took her down, I think I had a picture of her. I think I had a picture of she just was beautiful. And it's so sad that people tried so hard to dim her light, even in her greatest achievement in her head, which was winning the Miss USA, something she strived for 10 years. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
what were you saying?
No,
No,
that was it for me. I'm going to go back down to the chat. Thank you.
Thank you for coming up, Amuse.
Thank
Bye.
you.
We appreciate you over here. As long as you're not reading me. Bye.
Well, I still want to know. I still want to know about this crooked finger.
Okay, Amuse left. Oh, okay. So this is a subscriber call-in night. Anybody's welcome. I was supposed to be posting this a little bit sooner. Anybody's welcome to come up and share. What were you saying, Callie?
No, I was just saying that her story is it's very sad because even though I understand that these things can really hurt people, and that people that are younger than me have a connection to social media that people my age just don't. Like, to us, it's like a cartoon. It's not real. Like, people make negative comments. I just delete it and go, idiot. Who would take the time to type this stupid crap? And I go on about my day, because for me, it's something that is not a part of my everyday reality because I didn't grow up with it. You know, I was an adult by the time social media was invented. So I don't even think the algorithms affect my brain in the same way. So it's I have a niece that's a little bit younger than her, and she, oh, you know, this person's saying I'm fat, and then this person's saying I'm too skinny, and this person is saying that I need to wear a wig because I have a big forehead, and it's like all of this stuff, and I'm like looking at her like, that's not half of what people said to my face as a teenager, and it did not affect me in the same way for some reason. It's just really, her story is just so sad because I feel like she could have done anything she wanted to do with her life. If she didn't want to be on TV anymore, just don't quit. You know what I mean? If she didn't want to be a lawyer anymore, quit. You
don't know how that job, that career, those accomplishments tied into her personal self-worth. So it might be easy enough to say it.
Exactly. So it's so hard to. Her story's so sad because it sounds like her self-worth was tied to things that weren't actually making her happy. Because I know she mentioned something about feeling empty, even though she had all these accomplishments, she still felt an emptiness. You know, it's just, I would just say if you know, just try to talk to someone.
She had a counselor.
And if you do,
She had a
talk to
counselor.
someone and they're not helping you, be open to go to someone else. Because I tried to go to therapy too. I did not like the therapist. I felt like he was completely like patronizing to me, like telling me that my issues, oh, that's no big deal. That's just simple. You shouldn't be worried about it. You know what I mean? That type of thing. So I think a lot of people do have a therapist, and that therapist might not be a good match for them. But they feel like, well, I got to go to therapy, so they keep going back. If you feel like someone's not a good match for you, you can always find someone else. Sometimes you have to therapist shop. I don't currently have a therapist, but if I had one, it would have to be a person that has the same similar spiritual beliefs as I do, because they're not going to be able to figure out what's going on with me if they're coming at me talking about, you know, demons and all of that. I don't believe in any of that stuff. So
For me,
yeah.
for me, I think that is what you were saying. The social media always puts 20 on 10. It makes the situation worse.
I'm sorry.
But
I'm sorry. Hold on, Miss Autumn. I have Evangelist Val, but there for some reason there's two of you, Miss Val. Can you hear me?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Okay, speak again. Okay, so this must be the right one. I'm gonna remove this one. Oh, can you hear us now? Can you
Yeah,
speak?
can you hear me?
Okay, perfect. Now, Miss Autumn's mom. What were you saying?
I was just saying, if I go back to when I was the same age, 30, in my mind, I was doing all the right things. On paper, everything was gravy. I had made all the accomplishments check. I was married at 21. So by that time I was married for 9 years, had 0 kids. That's when I end up, but until at that time, no matter what I accomplished, then people still was like, "Oh, when you gonna have kids? When you gonna have a baby? This, that, and the third." That wasn't even an iota of my thought. So in my mind, it was like I'm still not good enough because I'm not checking everybody's all the boxes. You know, um, I end up having a baby, getting pregnant at 30 on my 30th birthday, had the baby, and it still was like not good enough. So what I implore people to do is just live. People always, no matter what you do that you think you're doing to please other people, do it for yourself, because someone's always going to find something that you do is not good enough for them. Yeah, it doesn't matter that I went to school. It didn't matter that, okay, I wasn't a teen mom. It didn't matter that I accomplished this or that. I had so much money at that point. I was working so much that I had so much money, didn't even have time to spend it. It was ridiculous. But did that make me happy? No, I was miserable. Miserable. But no one saw that. They just was like, "Oh, well, you got everything. What you complaining about?" I wasn't complaining. I just was trying to live and trying to find the joy and peace that I have now, which I had to find within, which was I didn't find in until I realized I had to stop trying to please everybody else. Once I released the my I want to say compulsion to try to please everybody, that's the freest I've ever been in my life.
It
It
sounds
let
like you reached a level of
Exactly.
self-actualization.
Yes.
Exactly. Same thing with me. I just had to let it
Mhm.
go. Like those
Yeah.
people who think I'm a loser or whatever, most of those people, when I really reflected upon the experiences that I was having with those people, most of those people were bad people and they were very toxic. And if I really thought about it at the time, they had done some really bad things to me in my life that I just kind of dismissed because I'm like, oh, they're family, or oh, I've known them for so long, or whatever. But as soon as I kind of tuned those people out, and they eventually stopped talking to me when they realized that they couldn't use me as a emotional punching bag. Um, you know what? A lot of that stuff does not bother me anymore. Like I'm not sitting up here crying saying, "Oh, I'm 41 and I'm not married and I don't have any kids." And I just that you know what? I'm just going with the flow of life and I'm just trying to manifest peace and happiness. And it's gonna come to me, and that's just how I feel. I don't really have this tie to my age or to other people feeling like I should have kids or whatever. Like, what do I feel?
Right.
So yeah, and I think that's one of the most important things that teenage girls, I don't feel like are taught that. So then you do have women that are in their 30s and 40s that are very depressed because they've never been taught that it's about what you feel. It's not about what other people think of you.
Ms.
No, correct.
Val,
And for
hold on
me,
1 second. Hold on. We got a couple more new people. Ms. Val, I'm gonna let you go ahead and share, and then we'll move on to Raquel. Thank you for
okay.
coming up. I know Ms. Val has been going through some personal
Yeah,
things, so I'm appreciative of you being here.
I appreciate that, Mims. Can you guys hear me?
Yes,
Yeah.
ma'am.
Okay. I just wanted to share briefly because I actually have to go to bed at 9. Right now I'm living in the rehabilitation um, neuro rehab institute. Um, as Mims knows, I don't. You ladies don't know, but I would like to share that I recently had a some brain surgery done. I have progressive multiple sclerosis. And so that's where I'm going to kind of pick up my story at. I suffer from anxiety, very bad anxiety, and it comes from having multiple sclerosis. Um, I have a YouTube channel, and the very first video I ever posted was 2014, not too long after I received my diagnosis. And I tell the story of how receiving the diagnosis affected me, and how I was told that I would be progressive real early on in the diagnosis. I have 7 sons and 4 grandchildren. Um, this last time around, I've been up and down in this whole diagnosis. I've been gone through losing my eyesight in one eye. I've been paralyzed before. This time around, it's from the waist down. Um, Went into a coma about 4 weeks ago. Um, Woke up paralyzed from the waist down. Um, and right before I went into the hospital, I had this sinking feeling in my gut that I needed to self harm. It was like I knew something bad was going to happen, and I could not make myself feel like I could deal with whatever that. I didn't feel like I was going to like not come out of it, but I knew something bad was going to happen, and I didn't want to deal with whatever that was going to be. And I felt like whatever was going to happen, I didn't want my family to have to deal with that. And so it would be better for me to self-harm than to deal with whatever was going to be the outcome of the surgery or the outcome of the, you know what I'm saying? Because I had to have the surgery done, right? So I can remember when I woke up from coming out of the coma and finding out, what everything that had happened, and I cried so hard because I remember telling myself, you should have just done it. You should have went with your gut instinct, and you should have just done it. And my husband and my sons were all around, and they were, crying and so happy that I was awake. And I was crying, and they thought I was crying because I was awake, but I was crying because I was awake. I was so sad because I felt like I didn't deserve to put that pressure on them to have to take care of me. Like, it was so overwhelming to have to do that, to have to put them in a position where they were going to have to now look after me. And I have just adopted a baby in 2019, and he was a newborn, and now he's 2. And I'm like, now I'm not even in a position to fully take care of him like I've taken care of all of my other sons. And so I was just devastated.
But
And
Ms.
so,
Val, that's what having a family is about, right? Like, a
right,
family is not for all of the great moments. Yeah, they're there for that, but a family is there to lift you up. Like, that is what a family. You should never feel that way. If you ever feel that,
right,
you can turn to your sons and your husband
right.
and
I
let them
know,
know.
sweetie. And that's where I've come. That's where I'm getting to. So I had to have a real life, because I am so spiritually, like I'm close to God. I have a relationship with him that I have cultivated over years and years and years. You know, I did not grow, like I was not born um with that, like I am now, like the powerful, strong woman that I am now, and that I see myself as, having gone through the things I've experienced in my life. And so I had to take a long look one day and just thank God for where I am and how I am and who I am. And I had to have a long talk with my husband and my children and let them know how I felt, and the how insecure I was about where I am in life, and how weak I was feeling, you know, about the position that I am right now. And that, you know, I know it's going to be a long road ahead. And I just had to be honest with myself, and I had to be honest with them and make them understand that I wasn't as okay as they thought I was. Because sometimes I think it can come across, when you are the one that's always strong and have always been the one to bounce back from everything, it can come across that you're going to bounce back from this too. And I just wasn't at a place in this time to bounce back from this particular situation. And so I had to be honest about that. Um, and so I think that's what I wanted to share was, you know, sometimes I know we were talking about bullying, and we were talking about, you know, all these things that people go through that can cause you to feel like, you know, you're in a position where you can't take it anymore. But I wanted to share that sometimes our health can be one of those things. You know, a lot of people deal with chronic health issues, and those health issues can bombard you if it's not the symptoms that you know, constantly get you down, or the inability to walk, or the inability to talk. I also lost the sight in my right eye. um and so there are a lot of things that I'm dealing with that, you know, and I'm not gonna lie, every day is a new journey. Every day it's me talking to myself and telling myself, you can do this today. You can do this today. You know, it's me looking at my kids and looking at the pictures and saying, you can do this for them. You can do this today. It's me being positive enough to push through for all of us, not just for me, but for all of us. And I know that I'm not just the only one. I know there are people out there who deal with other things, you know, who deal with other illnesses, who fight to live. And they not just fight the illness, but they fight their psyche, they fight their emotions, they fight mentally and physically to get through. And I just want to encourage them to, you know, like you said, Mims, talk to somebody, talk to your loved ones, talk to your therapist, talk to your friends, encourage them to talk to somebody and let them know, hey, I'm having a hard time. This is not as easy as it looks, you know. I'm because a lot of times, like my illness, you can't, up until I became paralyzed, you couldn't see it. You know, I have money, I dress nice, I carry myself a certain kind of way. People didn't know I was sick. They didn't know until I had an exacerbation and maybe I limped or something like that. People didn't even know I had MS. You didn't know it. It's one of those illnesses they call the silent or the invisible illness. And so people didn't know, like, you know, somebody who has lupus, or, you know, those illnesses you can't see. And so you kind of suffer in silence. But now I don't suffer in silence anymore, because now you know there's something wrong, you know. And so for people like me, I just want to say, please don't suffer in silence. Let somebody know that you're suffering. Let somebody know that you're hurting, and that you need to talk about it, and that you're feeling, you know, you're feeling like you can't take it anymore, or you feeling like you don't want it to be a burden, because that's how I felt. I didn't want to be a burden to anybody. And I do have a big, strong, powerful system of people who love me, but I just didn't want them to have to take care of me. That's where I was. And I appreciate this panel. I appreciate this show, Mims. I really do. It's a beautiful thing that you're doing, and I love you, and I thank you all for letting me be a part of it.
No, Miss Val, and I, you know, I do know Val outside of this, and I just want to
Yes,
say I'm very happy that you are on the road to recovery.
thank you.
Um, And I'm very happy that you now feel that you can reach out to your family. You're not a burden. Um, and you don't know what allowing yourself to be um, cared for by your family can do to them. Because I can tell you that I gave up my freshman year of high school. Every day, my grandmother, she was passing. Every day I was there. I
Right.
worked around my schedule. We made sure that there was when there wasn't a nurse, one of me or my sisters were there for my grandmother. And to this day, I don't regret a minute of not having, a social life in college because I was able to take care of my grandmother, somebody who took care of me. So you
Right.
have to relinquish some of that control, Val. Period.
Right.
A hard stop. You have to relinquish some of that
Right.
control and let these boys that you have raised that are grown men now help take care of you in addition to your husband, in addition to the new son that you adopted. And that's a hard stop.
Right.
Allow people to help you.
Yeah, I was taking care of my dad who just passed on the 29th of not this December, but the previous December. And your family would rather have you here in the flesh and take care of you than not have you here. Like, it's not a burden like that. Like, even, yeah, of course, my dad got on my nerves sometimes, but he was like that before he was sick. So, but no, I mean, your family is like relishing, every moment of you being here. Like, they do not see it that way at all. I think in the case
Right.
of my dad, I knew that he was just getting tired of being on dialysis, and he was not, you know what I mean? He just wasn't
Yeah.
happy in his life. It was a lot because he had a lot of complications with his dialysis. So I think that in a way, he just kind of was like, you know what, if I go, I go. And that's what ended up happening, unfortunately.
Right.
But also, my dad, he was, really didn't want me taking care of him. He would still drive himself to dialysis 90% of the time. He would hardly ever let me take him, So he was very much like you, like he didn't want to be a burden. But I'm like, I'm just glad that I was able to be here with him and take care of him, and I was able to spend all that time with him. So for me, I
Yeah.
never looked at it like, oh, my dad was like such a burden. Like, I never saw it that way.
You welcomed it.
No,
You
yeah.
welcomed
Yeah,
that
I,
burden.
I was
Hold on,
I was
we
glad
have
he
like
was
hold
here.
on we have I think Tiffany, Shanine, and Raquel. You guys jump in. If you have something or you're touched by something that we're talking about or you have a story, feel free. At this point, it's like just some friends talking. So
Oh, thank you. This feels so
Hey,
much
okay.
like Clubhouse. I'm Tiffany, the YCEO, and thank you so much for this space because it's something that has really been disturbing me since former Miss America, Chelsea Kryst, took her life. I was absolutely devastated. And as a mom who has a son that is her age, I couldn't imagine. And I try to put myself in her thought process. What must have been happening? What is it that she felt that she couldn't call and ask for help? What was it that drove her there? And because I'm very empathetic, because I understand that suicide is, some people think
oh,
it's a
we
selfish.
cannot say that word. Sorry, just
Oh,
ground
Yeah, I
I
rules.
say
apologize.
self-harm.
We
I'm so
can't say the S
sorry.
word, but if you could replace that with self harm, that would be
Thank
appreciated.
you. I appreciate that. Self harm is not about selfish. I've learned through painful experience, like Evangelist Valerie said, through going through a severe illness, that it's about compassion and it's about you not wanting to be in pain when it's a physical issue that cannot be resolved. And also, there are mental issues that are just as severe. And
Yeah,
it really hurt me to see people saying so many wonderful things about her outward appearance and not about her heart, which was huge, and her soul. Because what people don't understand, those who don't walk this walk, let's keep it real. A lot of people are so dark when it comes to people who are what they consider to be beautiful on the outside, and they will overlook their feelings because of their own inward struggles. And people will carry that, and it becomes so heavy. Folks began to regret being born a certain type of way because they're like, if I were normal, then people would treat me well and not be jealous or envious, and the trolls wouldn't be coming after me, which we all know is really just not true. It's the flawed thinking that we get into when we get sick and tired of being sick and tired. Because I can tell you that even though I'm 50 and I have two grown children, worked very hard to ensure that they were balanced. And when I'm mistaken for being their girlfriends, and people find that I'm actually their mother and I was of legal age and very married when I had them, they look at me like, well, I don't look like you. What's wrong with me? Why you get to look like that? And that's the wrong approach. That's the wrong question. But what that does is it sets young people up, people who are not as strong as I am, it sets them up to carry those burdens until it becomes a 600-pound gorilla of non of an expectation that cannot be reached. Because when she expressed her workout regimen, because I work out, and I was like, I want to look like her. When I saw her on the runway, what is her workout regimen? I need to add some more
Me
stuff in there.
too. Yeah, me
And I
too.
was like, wait a minute, Queen. What you basically said is you don't sleep. You will sacrifice life and limb to work out 3 times a day if you have to. That is not healthy. That's out of balance. You're striving for something that may not be in balance, because where's your happiness? Not criticizing how you look, do your thing, but you need sleep. You need
Yeah,
to eat
you need
properly. You need
Jesus.
rest,
People
and you need
people
Jesus.
need Jesus.
Come on in, Queen.
People need to pray. They need Jesus. The issue is that people have forgot about God. And we're living in a time right now that the veil is very thin. We're living in a different realm right now, and the Bible is actually fulfilling itself. And the emptiness comes from your you not having a connection with God.
That part.
I
And
believe
see,
she was Christian though. I
a
think she
lot of
was
people, yeah, but she may have been, but her. See, you have to exercise your prayer life, your life with Christ. Uh, and I know that people have mental illness, and I understand that as well. But your spiritual life is very important. And right now, we're experiencing a overwhelming um, warfare that's going on in the world right now, and people, um, they're not taking their spiritual life, God, or anything seriously because the church has hurt so many people. But He's doing a new thing, and it's outside of the church also now. And so there are people like me that are evangelists that God is using to reach people outside of the church. But I want you to know, she really was a beautiful young lady. I don't know really what her prayer life was or whatever, but I will tell you, I experienced a lot of different things growing up. People are not everyone is will not like you. My grandmother explained that to me from a small child, that everyone, is not going to like you. They're going to want the teeth out of your head. I never thought uh, and could understand why, or never believed in the word jealousy until I lived long enough to see that people would hate me for just because of the way I look. Just like Tiffany just said, like jealousy is cruel as the grave, and that is the scripture that is in the Bible, and it is very cruel. You would like to think that people in this world would have the type of heart that would have compassion and show mercy and grace to each other, but it's just not there. And that's why your prayer life, if I didn't know God, I probably would have fell in that same trap that that beautiful young lady fell into, because I had to live a life being very secluded, protecting my heart. and my mind and my soul and myself because of how cruel the world can be. But because I have built up my prayer life and my faith in God so heavy and so strong, I can come on this live to share a word with someone to let them know that God is real. And I dare you to pray. I dare you to pick up your Bible. I dare you to spend time with God. He is real. If you take the time to do it, the words of the Bible, people are miscrewing, they're misinterpreting the Bible. There may be some things in the Bible, people have a problem with or whatever. Once I applied myself to the scripture, the words from the Bible became like they were coming alive while I was reading them, if that makes sense. And so, if I can encourage the evangelists here that spoke earlier, you are an evangelist, and the enemy does not want you to, you stick with your word and you believe what you read and what you know about God.
I
And
was
you,
just about I was just about to say something when you right before you said that. I was going to say when I was at my lowest point, I had to remind myself that God had given me a purpose. Um, I didn't know while I was in surgery that here on my YouTube channel, I was being attacked. People were wishing me dead, um, putting comments in my on my channel. It was a whole thing. People were talking about
Jesus.
me. Oh yeah, it was a whole thing. So I was under attack.
but do you
But
know that's
what I
why
want
that
to
happened? You have a
yeah,
purpose for your
yeah.
life.
So
And the
that's what I wanted
enemy,
to I
yeah,
wanted to tap into what you were saying.
yeah.
But what I wanted to say is and then I'm gonna get down because I have to go to bed at a certain time. But what I wanted to say was the importance of having a relationship with God. I wanted to tap into what she's saying just right quick because I think this is an important point. The importance of having a relationship with God is very important for everybody. I don't want people to get lost in her message. I think that it is very important that we have a relationship with God because I don't hear her saying anything about religion. I think when we start having these conversations, people get signed off and they say, oh, here they go talking about religion. She's not saying religion. She's saying having a relationship with God, because when you have your own personal relationship with God and you get to know who God is, then you know him for yourself. Then you can decide what you want to do from there on out. You decide if you want to have a religion or if you want to be involved in a religion. But when you have a relationship with God, you decide how you want to serve him. He will talk to you and tell you what your purpose is and where you move from then on out, because that's where you will dwell. God is where you dwell and where you find your safety net. God can be your softest place to fall when in times like this. And I'm glad you said that, sister. I want to thank you in the name of Jesus, because
Yes.
you reminded me of the moment that I had to come to my enlightenment and say to myself, my life was worth living, because I had to
Mhm.
remind myself that I did have a purpose. And even now, I made a video today where I talked about my purpose and how I realized that even being paralyzed, I'm still able to run for God. Even being
Yes.
paralyzed, I'm still able to run for God. So I just want to say, y'all, if you think about what she's saying, I don't want y'all to think about, oh, they talking about religion. It's not about religion. It's about a relationship with God. If you would just open your mind up to getting to know God for yourself, getting to know him for yourself and what you and him can do together, it will make a difference in your life. It will make a difference in your life, just having him in your life, just you
You
and
know what,
him.
Evangelist? I think what you're saying is very, very powerful because rejection seems to create an identity crisis.
Yeah, I
Rejection
think a
by
lot of
those
them
in the
have
body of Christ, those, listen to me
rejection.
carefully now. Rejection by those in the body of Christ is especially cruel.
Yes,
I have to go where the rubber meets the road. I don't sugarcoat anything when it comes to the body of Christ. It happens more often than we want to admit. So when we're thrown into an identity crisis, we now have an opportunity to erase all that other stuff. We have to start from the foundation up because our Heavenly Father saw us before we were even in our mother's womb. He gave us the survival tools that will bring us to the place where we can be whole.
Yeah, it's about
And I know for
God.
a fact that
It's
any
about the
rejection
Lord.
may hurt. And this is
Mm-hmm.
what Shanine was saying.
Mm-hmm.
Because future rejection might hurt, but it will be only for a season.
Yes.
Because the word of God is our shield against every fiery dart
Yes.
of the
Yes.
devil. Ephesians 6 says that. For victory over our feelings, we have to continue to pray and stay before the Father, because he is the one that gives us our identity.
That is the key. That is
That's the
the
key right there.
And
That
the
part.
thing about it, if you've tried everything else in this world
Yep.
to get peace and to get a peace of mind, and you've tried everything and you still feel an emptiness, you need to stick with prayer. Try Jesus and see what happens.
Yes.
Because I'm telling you, I know for myself. I have I live a life where I have very few friends. I won't even really say I have friends. I have a few family members. But when I tell you God will give you the peace, and
Yes,
I
Jesus.
never feel alone. I never I never feel alone. I feel very full all the time in the spirit. And once you try it and you exercise that part of your life, your spiritual life, you'll really understand. You'll really understand more and how to move in this world. Because I'm telling you right now that God told me 3 years ago, He prepared me for this pandemic. He had my mind, my taste buds, everything, to where I started eating differently, not knowing this was coming, but He prepared me. And then also just people that were around me. Um, I was able to shed those people off. And He just put me in a position. It's just so amazing to me how He structured my life coming into this pandemic. And if you guys notice in this pandemic, there's a lot of things happening.
Guys,
There's
I
a lot of
don't know if
people
we could say the P
losing their
word.
life.
I don't know if we could say the P word.
Oh, I'm
I
sorry.
didn't even hear it.
The
Okay, I'm
pandemic.
gonna I'm gonna I'm
The
gonna interrupt. I'm gonna interrupt, ladies. Nims, because I have to go, but I just want to thank everybody. God bless everybody
God
on the
bless you,
panel.
Angel.
God bless you
Um,
too, Queen.
and I
Stay with your
appreciate you
word.
so much, Mims. I love you.
Stay with your
Thank you for
word.
your testimony.
Yes.
Oh,
I
Yeah.
appreciate you.
I will, you all. Thank you so much.
Yeah, keep your
Yes.
head up.
Really quickly, has Raquel had a chance to speak?
No, not yet.
Oh, Raquel, definitely.
Sorry, Raquel.
You have to unmute.
Oh boy. Oh hi.
Come on in, Queen.
Oh yeah. Good night. Oh, this is my first time. I don't understand this thing, but this is very powerful. Powerful tonight because so much things I wanted to say, but I'm gonna start off with God is good all the time.
Amen.
Evangelist, hang in there because I see miracles. We're gonna start back on children and the bullying and mom and young age. I'm 53 years old and I have my first child when I was 15. And I'm a Jamaican living in England. And it's not easy. It's a journey to be, because I remember when I was giving birth, the nurse smacked me. She slapped me. And, so I was brought up in a society to chuck things under the carpet, certain things that you see, put it at the back of your brain, your subconscious mind every now and then, kind of, tap in. If it make any sense, what I'm saying. Hello, you guys can hear me?
Oh, it
Yes,
does.
ma'am.
Oh,
We can hear
yes.
you.
Yeah, the subconscious mind
Yeah.
is very powerful.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
Yeah. And sometimes people see you, you're thought to put that smile on your face. And we're gonna touch back on glamour things. Why I said glamour memes. 53 and I look younger than my children. But I'm a 60s baby. And as a
Well, all
60s
right, Miss
baby is like
Raquel.
something in our food that keep our skin. Huh?
No, we're agreeing. Keep on.
We're agreeing with you.
So
You're
it's like something is in.
I think
Yeah,
she has a bad
I had my
connection. There's
first child. I was 50.
Yeah, she's
Miss
talking
Raquel, could you
muffled,
do me a
so it's
favor?
a little.
If you are talking
Is
on
what I
your
want to say.
phone,
I'm
make
gonna
sure
touch
to
back
hold
on.
your phone like this. If you're talking through your cell phone, if you're talking through some form of a device, make sure to hold the speaker here because we're having a difficult time hearing you.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yes,
Yeah.
ma'am.
Oh boy, I don't understand this thing.
No, you're doing great. Welcome to the channel.
Yeah, and society can bring you down still, to be fair. Society can bring you down because I've been judged, I've been name it. But the way I was brought up, things like that doesn't bug me. Like if you're fat and someone has said, Raquel, you're fat, you're getting fat, you know, things like that don't upset me or get me mad. I know how to say, well, I'm fat and I'm beautiful, I'm healthy, I'm well fed. But you're underfed, you need food. So I grew up with that. I can tell you back things to hurt your feelings. Because if you said I'm fat, I'm fat. So the fat shame thing, I don't know nothing about that, but I can tell you about judging. That's why I don't use social media. I don't go on social media or nothing like that because the struggles out there is real. And people, because the way how we were brought up, we don't know nothing about this mental issue. And it's now I know about mental issue after 33 years living in the United Kingdom. I know and study about children. I know about mental issue, and it is real. So people think they're going on the internet bullying people, and think it's fun and game. Most of them is that doing that. They themselves been bullied. They themselves been humiliated, and they know the feelings of it. But yes, still they hurt people. It's like hurt people, hurt people. It doesn't work that way. But you know what? I'm sensitive. I'm not thick skinned, so I don't go on social media. I don't show up a lot of picture. And I just thank God for this channel and Gabor and Cheryl because I'm telling you, I wake up to listen to you guys. And I just want you guys to continue, keep up the good work. Kali, big up yourself. Autumn, Evangelist, make it make sense, memes. I always love you. Big up on yourself. Continue this journey on this channel because it is real. It is
it is.
real. 53
Bless
years
you.
old, 5 children, deprived of
Bless
my
you.
childhood. Oh, come on now. Let me tell you something. Keep this channel in our memes. Keep this channel. Oh, sorry, the Jamaican come out in me. Keep this channel.
Bless you.
Keep it going. And
I love it.
everyone that listening, it's a safe place, and I love it.
Bless you.
So
I'm glad she said
so
that.
guys,
You know,
Sorry, I
my
just got
son's an
evangelist.
influencer
hold,
online. He
hold on one
has
second, Miss
four oh,
Tiffany.
sorry.
Really quickly. So guys, I definitely agree with everything Miss Raquel just said. My channel is a safe space. It doesn't matter where you fall in whatever spectrum. We're gonna have to close out soon because I'm working a 7-day work week and they have me doing 10-hour days. So if Miss Tiffany, if you could give your closing statements, I would definitely like to hear them.
Absolutely, King. Thank you so much. You know, my son's an influencer on YouTube and TikTok, and he has millions and millions of followers, and and has been doing this at least over a year since the pandemic, and he shifted his career. But he didn't expect for his
Drop.
popularity to bring
Is it drop?
um, you know, the haters as much as they've come. And I didn't find out till my birthday party. We had 600 on Clubhouse and it was so much fun. But he was back channeling me saying, Mom, I know I want to wish you birthday on my public channel, but I can't because the haters might find you. And I said, I need to circle back to that because I want to make sure that you're okay because as parents, and I'm saying that because as parents, we have to dig out and dig up when we hear that little nudge in our spirit that says something's not quite right with my child. I felt that when he sent that to me. He wouldn't have said that if it didn't bother him. And so I circled back and I said, let's talk about it. Because mama's here and I'm supposed to protect you. So let me find out what's going on. As parents, we cannot ignore those little things that say something's up with your child. They're successful. They're making money. They don't really need you, but they need you. So I just want to say that to parents out there, check in. Check in on your strong children because I don't want them to end up at the place where they feel like they can't come to us. I'm Tiffany, the CEO, and I land my plane there. Thank you all so much for your kindness.
Tiffany, you have a channel?
Yes, I do.
What is the name of it?
CEO.
Definitely go follow Tiffany. On this
Now,
channel.
really, I just started it because I'm following my kid around YouTube.
Go for
But
it.
yes, we're doing live streams as well to try to encourage people. It's something new I just signed up for. Thank you. I appreciate you.
No problem. We have Miss Sonia Unapologetic. Did you have some closing statements? Because we're about to close out.
Yes, can y'all hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, when I saw what happened to Cheslie, of course, it was, very just sad to see that. But I guess one thing I wanted to say, I do see every time people see what happened, the first thing they do say is she was so beautiful. And I think a lot of times, that's the pressure to where people can feel like if they have it all together and everyone thinks they're attractive, everyone thinks that their occupation, they see them as successful, that can cause a lot of pressure to where someone can feel like you go to people and they feel like, how dare you have the audacity to feel depressed if you have all that going on. So I can definitely understand those pressures. I would just encourage everyone to find your tribe and find the people who understand, because I know even in counseling situations, I've gone to some counselors to where they'll make me feel like, how dare you have the audacity to be depressed? It's like, almost like, it's, making them feel annoyed. So I just encourage everyone. And I've even done, videos on my channel that talks about, are you qualified to be depressed, and how people will make you feel like there are certain qualifications that you have to have in order to be depressed. So, if anyone's going through that, I want to say I definitely understand. And, for them to keep, searching until you find that person who truly understands, because there are people who understand and won't judge you for feeling a certain way, based on what the outer appearance or, you looking like you're successful, as if you can't feel depressed. So I just wanted to say that because my guess is, that's what Cheslie was going through.
That's deep, and it's true. There aren't necessarily qualifiers. Everybody's different. So if you need to reach out, we've talked about this multiple times. Reach out, speak up, because you're not alone. I think that's what you were saying, Miss Sonia.
Yes, for sure.
Callie Noya, do you want to do your closing statements? Before you do that, I really appreciate you being here. You definitely, I like that you have, you're very respectful in your difference of opinion, because my platform is open to everybody. And I like that you presented something else as well. So if you have a closing statement.
Well, the reason why I hopped on in the first place is because, I have suffered with depression. And a lot of what Sonia just said is that a lot of times people feel like, well, who are you to be depressed? And anyone can suffer from depression. And I would also like to echo what she said is finding your tribe, finding the right people that you can talk to, because it's not going to be everyone. And I just wanted to come from a perspective of a person who isn't religious, and me actually, looking into other things as far as like, the law of attraction, how the universe works, all of these different other spiritual concepts actually is what got me out of my depression. So religion is not going to work for everyone. There are some people who they just don't connect with it, and that's just not how they think. But there are other things out there. So if you are a person that's just kind of feeling like, you know, the religion stuff, this is not for me, I would definitely say, just look into some other things. There are other concepts out there as to how the universe works, what God is, all of that stuff that might help you. Also, if you are seeing a therapist and it doesn't seem like it's helping, try to find another therapist, because I feel like a lot of people don't do that. They just keep going back because they tell you, oh, it's a process. You have to keep doing this work, keep doing this work. But if this person isn't getting you, then, or they're, minimizing your problems or whatever, that might not be the right person. This might not be the right therapist for you specifically. And I know this sounds very cliche, just don't focus so much on fitting in with other people. You're you, and what you want to do is what is going to make you happy. You know what I mean? It's not about, fitting in with other people or feeling like you need to get love from other people. Because that was one of the triggers for my depressions, that I felt very alone. But then when I thought about it, I was like, if I'm just left to my own devices, I'm not unhappy alone. It was society telling me that I shouldn't be alone. And me feeling like because society looks at being alone a certain way, I should feel bad about it. Or the only way I could be happy is with other people, which was not the truth. It was just something that was ingrained into my subconscious. So, sometimes it's taking some time by yourself to really think about what is it going to take to make you happy if you are suffering from depression. Maybe write it down, like, okay, what would literally make me happy? What can change in my life? And it might not change overnight, that would make me happy, other than just giving up. And also changing your environment. If you live somewhere and it's raining every single day, that might not be the place for you if you suffer from depression.
And rain makes you sad.
Yeah, living in living in a 60-story building. I'm not trying to be insensitive, but it's possible that she may have changed her mind if it would have been a lot more difficult for her to do what she did. Because there are times when I had those thoughts, but it wasn't a convenient thing for me to do. You know what I mean by it? I had to come up with a plan. By the time I came up with a plan, I had talked myself out of it. Like the moment had passed. But for her, all she had to do was get on the elevator. So I know it may sound ridiculous, but if you are a person that suffers from depression, you do kind of have to design your life around things that make you happy. And if living in the snow and rain is making you depressed, then maybe one of your goals should be to move somewhere warmer. If you're having thoughts of self-harm, living in a multi-story building is probably not a good idea. Owning a firearm is probably not a good idea. Having lots of pills in the home is probably not a good idea, because you just need a little time to change your mind, and you probably will change your mind. These thoughts are very fleeting, and time changes everything. You can manifest anything you want in your life. It just takes time. And also, this isn't your fleshly existence, isn't your life. Your life is going to go on forever. This is just a cocoon. This is just a phase of life. So
it's a very important concept.
Yeah.
Nothing.
So I would not get so caught up on age at all. Like, I'm not caught up on age at all. Like, I literally look at my body as I'm a butterfly. This is a cocoon. One day I'm going to transition out of here and go on to another existence. So, if that helps anyone, I hope so, because like I said, I know that I was one of those people kept telling me to pray and go to church, and I'm like, I don't connect with any of that stuff. None of that stuff. My brain just doesn't work that way. I think I'm a little bit too logical for that stuff. I don't know, but That just wasn't my thing. And I know there's got to be at least a couple of people that are listening that are probably like me that was like, yeah, that's not my thing. But there are other things. You know what I mean?
There were
Yeah.
people in the chat who said they were looking for more of a secular way to find inner peace and find spirituality. So you're definitely right.
Yeah.
You guys,
Even
we're
if
gonna
you
have to
at the
we're gonna have to close out.
Sorry,
I'm sorry.
I just want to give them a place to find like some people to connect with. So even if I know the book The Secret was very vague and it didn't really give a lot of details, but if you look at some of the people that contributed to the book and look some of those people up, a lot of them have YouTube channels and things like that might help you.
Definitely. Sonia, if you would like to definitely tell the people where they can find you, because I did hear you say you had a channel, you're welcome to do so.
Yes, it is Sonia Unapologetic, and it focuses on mental wellness and just living a free life from a Black woman's perspective. So it's Sonia Unapologetic, like it says on the screen name. Thank you.
No problem. In this channel, again, me promoting you doesn't take anything away from me, right? We have to start thinking like that as small content creators. We have to help each other. We have to cross promote. And I want everybody to do well and win.
I really appreciate it.
Amen.
So we're going to close out with this statement that Cheslie had said on one of her Instagrams. I played it throughout. Guys, if you just came in, definitely check out from the beginning. I talked about some personal experiences. We went over her mom's statement. We read one of her articles from Allure magazine where she talked about her insecurities. And we talked about some of her accomplishments because that's really what it's about. This woman is gone way too soon. But now her story is becoming a testimony for maybe other people who are having the same struggle. So I felt it was very important to have this conversation. I felt it was very important to allow you guys to call in as much as you wanted to talk about your personal experiences because, you never know. This chat might help one person. These panelists might help one person. I've also scrolled the self-help hotline. If you're ever feeling alone or you just need somebody to talk to, definitely reach out. Let me play her. Now, this is Cheslie, guys, in her own words.
If nobody else has told you today, I want you to know you are smart, beautiful, and you are worthy.
I thought it was important to end there. We're definitely going to do, this is crazy. I know we're very deep, but now we're talking about Portia. I'm definitely going to finish the Pursuit of Portia. So look for the thumbnail to be dropping probably tomorrow. I don't know if I'm going to do it tomorrow. That'd probably be a good day to do it, but it'll definitely be before the end of the weekend. So between tomorrow and Thursday, I'll be doing my Pursuit of Portia. We're going to be doing more talks like this. My channel is crazy. My channel goes from deep to shallow. It is what it is.
Y'all make sure you tap in, like and subscribe. Like and subscribe. Tap in.
What she said. I want to thank all my panelists. I want to thank everybody for sharing. Everybody's testimony was very impactful. And everybody say goodbye. So when you say goodbye.
Bye, everybody. We have to go. Bye, everybody.